Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Day 2 of Full Throttle. Welcome aboard the primary live trade brief. And man, already sent out a trade about 47 minutes ago that's up 450 bucks. Everybody should have gotten a text and an email. If you didn't give us your phone number when you registered, you didn't get a text. Unfortunately, we're not going to add it now. So everybody should have gotten at least an email. And if you didn't, we're going to go through that trade in a couple minutes. All right, quick review of our flight schedule. Last night, we knocked out our welcome aboard brief for those who are new or newer or brand new to Top Gun Options. That is on the replay page. Everybody should have gotten the link to the replay page. Let me show you where that is real quick in case anybody missed last night. Really good crowd today, which is good. This is where the replays will be posted all week on what's it called? The replay page. go.topgunoptions.com/FT replay. Let me put you bet. I'll put the link in the chat box. So there you go. This is a must watch. My background, the background of Top Gun Options, our strategic, operational, and tactical methodology, and we went through our 7-step trade plan. We're going to go through that trade plan live here in a little bit after we do our SOT brief. Sold that bull put spread on FXI as soon as Trump started talking bad about China, and it's a great looking trade. So every replay is going to be on here from this week. Any questions about that? Good. All right. So today right now we're sitting in. You're live in the primary live trade brief, where we're going to cover, obviously, the China trade already sent out. We're going to take a look at CSX potential earnings, take a look at some Amazon, take a look at some volatility. A lot going on in this market. Tomorrow afternoon at 1 o'clock, we're going to do accelerated retirement. Those are more longer dated trades, a couple years out into the future, a little bit more conservative portfolio. And at the end of tomorrow's brief, we're going to open up the doors to 50 new members, okay? Once we get 50, this is a change. This is the first time we've done this in 9-10 years, and it's mainly because of folks who join and my current members. We're going to close the doors when we get 50. If we get 50 after AR tomorrow, I'm not going to do anything tomorrow night. If we get 50 by Thursday, I won't do Friday, but here's the rest of the week, okay? Once we get our 50, we're going to knock it off for the week, because it starts taking away having hundreds and hundreds of people join us in our members, what should be members only brief. It kind of takes away from everybody else. So at the end of the day, once we get our 50 for the week, we're going to be done. If it takes until Friday, well, great. We'll do a weekly options brief on Friday, and we'll also debrief the week. Sent out a weekly options trade yesterday to our members. That is looking pretty good, and might actually talk about legging into an iron condor on that. So that's the flight schedule for the week in case you didn't brief it last night. Welcome aboard Full Throttle. If you didn't attend last night's brief, what is this? It is the industry-leading options training program, the best out there, period. We've been doing this for 10 years. We just open up the doors. Right now, you're in the primary live trade brief with about 350 other members. So this is a regularly scheduled primary live trade brief. The best way to show you what I do at Top Gun Options is what? To open the doors and you see us live with our members. We don't do 90,000 PowerPoints and ask for some huge investment up front, and then you get to see what we do. You get to see what we do, and then you get to make a decision. Annual slots open tomorrow. Today, if we have time, we'll talk about a trudge. If not, we'll definitely do it tomorrow in accelerated retirement. A trudge, if you've never heard that term, that's a Top Gun Options term. It's a trade which you want to make money, but it also serves as a potential hedge. Volatility is back at about 3-month lows, which is insane. Iran, China trade war, kind of crappy earnings, a Fed that can let us down, and the market's at record highs, and vol is getting back down. Something's going to happen in the next couple weeks to freak this market out, I guarantee you, and it might be the Fed letting us down at the end of the month. I think the Federal Reserve at their, July 30, 31 meeting might actually let us down. Not let us down. I don't think they should be cutting interest rates. I think they should be raising them, but that's a different story. Ladies and gentlemen, in today's brief, I'm going to give you a strategic operational brief. We're going to get tactical and get trading, and I'm going to show you how trading is a form of combat, right? There's a winner and there's a loser, and you want to be on the right side of that trade. I'm going to teach you that ethos, that mentality when you become a member here at Top Gun Options. So my mission objective for the week, full week until we get 50, Industry-leading live trading and training, opening the doors. It's the best out there, folks. If you look at the financial training landscape, a lot of folks come and go, a lot of snake oil crap, a lot of folks out there who have wandered around the financial training desert trying to learn how to do this on their own. They always end up here, and they find a home. Really proud of what we do here. Show our all my current members today as we go through some of our positions, whether it's Visa, CSX, Amazon, or FXI. Do me a favor and throw your individual results in the chat box so I can share it with a lot of this folks. So. And then we'll get airborne this week. Primary live trade brief. What are we going to do for the next hour and 15 minutes-ish, maybe hour and 30? We're going to take a look at beginner to intermediate trades, kind of base trades or basic trades. So you really don't have to be super savvy with options at all in this what we call the primary live trade brief. You got to watch the welcome aboard. I'm not going to spend too much time on my biography. It's a waste of time. I want to, so to speak, I want to get trading and talk about what's going on around the globe and what's going on operationally here in the United States and take a look at our trades. We'll take a look at current positions, a couple closed positions. We've had some really good shots recently. We're going to cover the new trade that I already sent out on FXI. Just to show you, did everybody, like I said, if you gave us your phone number, folks, I sent out 3,427 texts and emails about an hour. When did this come in? 12:20. So this is, I took a screenshot of my phone. I sent this out at 12:20. Or I got, well, when did I get this? Yeah, 12:20. So there it is, Top Gun Options. That PLTB means what? Primary live trade brief, new FXI bull put spread. So I give you the details. So this is, we didn't even start the primary live trade brief, and I was sitting here getting ready. Trump did the standard, China sucks, we're never going to get a trade deal, and the FXI started to pull back. I'll show you it in a couple minutes. And what did I do? The market doesn't care anymore. It cares about a trade deal, but it's done listening to the president. We'll talk about the history of FXI, and Scott, we've talked about your issue a bunch of times, man. Don't know what the problem is. You have to call your provider because out of the like 1,100 members here, there's like 3 or 4 people that aren't getting text alerts. So, like I said, you gotta deal with that. Okay, but let me show you what fired immediately at the same time. Okay, so look at this. Actually, here's what's funny, folks. I just showed you the text alert got to my cell phone at what time? Men lie, numbers don't. 12:20. What time did I get this email? So I got the email, ladies and gentlemen. So Scott, there you go. Yeah, I got the email before I got the text alert at 12:19. Look at the top of the email. What do? I paste in the actual text alert. So you don't need to get text alerts, folks. The text alert is actually pasted in the top of the email. And then what did I do? I took 2 screenshots of the trade. Here's the order ticket, and we'll break down this order in a couple minutes, exactly what it is, selling this put, buying this put at this price, and then we do what? I took a screenshot of the risk in the trade. How much is the potential loss? How much is the potential profit? Okay, so this is awesome. This is what you get here at Top Gun Options. Text alert. The email came quicker than the text, which is funny. And then obviously you're here live. Even if you're watching me on a recording, you should have gotten the text and the email. And as every time I do a full throttle, people are like putting their cell phone numbers in the chat box. Too late, folks. When you opted in to full throttle, we asked it right here. Optional, your cell phone number, if you want to get trade alerts. Okay, so you can stop typing in your cell phone numbers. The only reason I sent this one out is a demonstration of our text alert system. It ain't cheap, so we're probably not going to be sending out too many free texts to our full throttle. This was just a, hey, this is how it works. Okay. All right, so let me go back to our presentation and we'll get cruising here. Yeah, it's pretty awesome. Somebody just said you give all this stuff away for free. Well, nothing's free except full throttle for a couple sessions, and then yeah, it's time to get airborne. Like I said, maybe tomorrow, because we have a lot to do this afternoon, we'll talk about a trade that also serves as a hedge. Does that make sense? Tim, exactly, man. All right. You all should know me by now. If you don't, if you're relatively new, watch the replay. I go into my background as a Navy FA-18 fighter instructor pilot, graduate of Top Gun, flew some combat sorties over Iraq, was raised, wanting to serve my country, but also wanted to make some money. You don't join the Navy to get rich. And as we talked about last night, applied everything I learned flying a fighter aircraft, being disciplined, being short and to the point, managing risk, contingency planning, asking what could go wrong during this mission that we can talk about in a brief. You are sitting right now in a brief. It ain't called a long, it's called a brief. So I'm going to tell you what you need to know, the intelligence that's going on, so we can potentially act and make some money. All this stuff worked so well, I popped up on the radar of one of the largest options trading firms in the world, based in the Chicago Board of Trade, was the managing director of strategy, and also built the Options News Network. I was the founder and CEO, and went from essentially me to 80,000 traders and investors in a year. Took that company from zero and about a $25 million company in the blink of an eye. Had an absolute blast doing it, but like I said, I'm a beach guy. Beautiful day down here in South Florida in Fort Lauderdale. I need an ocean, I need warm weather, so started Top Gun Options about 10 years ago and haven't looked back. We are at full afterburner and having an absolute blast here at Top Gun Options, so hopefully you'll see that over the coming days. Talked about our performance last night. I'll tell you what, why don't you guys watch the replay to see all this stuff, because I want to talk about trading. That's enough. All right, here we go. Like I said, I'm going to treat you like you are a current member. So if you have questions as we go, I'll try and answer them. If it's something that I can answer at the end that's gonna that I'm not going to drop anchor on, I'll try and save some time to the end to take a look at that. All right, let me minimize this and get going. Iran. Everybody remembers about a month ago, tankers being attacked, and some idiots in this country and around the world saying, oh, it's the United States attacking tankers to get us into a war with Iran. There actually is that type of stupid people in this country, folks, and a lot of them are in Washington and on the left side of the aisle. We don't attack our own tankers or anybody else's tankers. It's incredible when you actually have drone footage of IRGC patrol boats leaving their port, going to tankers, putting the mines on the boats, and them exploding hours later, and people saying, you did it. Right? You can't fix stupid, and there's a lot of stupid people in the world. But here's the issue, is this is going to come to a head. Netanyahu the other day slammed Europe for not sanctioning Iran after the nuclear deal breach. You know what he said? His exact quote was, Europe is acting exactly as you did in 1930s. Appeasement. Everybody remember Neville Chamberlain? I have a signed document from Adolf Hitler. There will be peace in our time. It's exactly what's going on here, ladies and gentlemen. Why am I ranting about this? You will wake up potentially one day, tankers sinking, airstrikes, the VIX is up about 30, 40, 50%, and the market's off 1,000 points. Are you ready for something like this? Have to be hedged, right? With the VIX down here and market at record highs, all it's going to, and Donald Trump can bluster and, hey, are you going to attack Iran after shooting down our drone? Well, you're going to see. And they made a big mistake. I'm not going to do anything. Donald Trump most likely doesn't have to do anything because this guy will. Israel is obviously at greater threat than Iran. Years ago, as many of you know, the Stuxnet virus with the Mossad and the CIA crippled their nuclear program for a couple years. Mossad agents were riding around Iran, putting magnetic bombs on the cars of Iranian scientists and blowing them up. This stuff is going on. Just because we're sitting here and going to talk about Amazon and Prime and stuff like that, this is going on, folks. Why don't we believe a country that says, we're going to get a nuke and we're going to vaporize your country and yours and kill as many Americans as possible? Why do we sit here and go, oh, stop, they're just kidding, right? It's ridiculous. This is out there. It's going to come to a head. How do I know a lot about this stuff? One of my good buddies I flew in the fleet with is he's now a captain. Captain Putnam Brown is the commanding officer of the Abraham Lincoln, who's in the Arabian Gulf right now. He stopped emailing me about a week and a half, 2 weeks ago, which means he's a little busy. Know a lot of stuff that goes on behind the scenes, ladies and gentlemen. Have a lot of buddies who are still on active duty at very high rank. You can see on our Top Gun Options Facebook page. So I know what's going on and it's not going to end well. All right, let's move. China, speaking of military stuff, last week we authorized $2.2 billion in arms sales to Taiwan. The president of Taiwan is visiting D.C. next week. It's soon in July. China's furious. You better know your history because Taiwan, according to China, is a renegade province, right? We're going to take it back. It's ours. United States, Taiwan's a free country and we'll defend it if you ever attack it. So after we approved arms sales, what did China do? Huge, massive military exercises off the coast. This is also going to come to a head. Back in January, I briefed my TGO members about what a Chinese admiral said at a conference. Somebody asked, I forget what the exact question was, but he's like, what are you talking about? Trade issues, trade deal. This is about strategic power. We could care less about trade. This is about air dominance. If you don't know, under 8 years of Barack Hussein Obama, China took dirt from China, sailed into the middle of the Pacific at low tide when these atolls were visible, dumped the dirt, made runways, put missiles and airplanes there, and said, this is now China. This is the bigger issue than trade, ladies and gentlemen. And Joe Biden, when he started running for president, saying what? China's not the threat. And of course, he apologized and said China's the threat. Of course, it's the threat, and it's a military threat. Now let's talk about the economics. And another reason we're going to talk about FXI today. Let me see if I'm filled on this thing. Where are we? Orders. Nope. No, whoever just asked, look at this, folks. I sent out the text alert. Everybody see this right here? Man, this is so 15 cents. I chased this from 13 up to 14, 15 cents. It's now down at 11. How many of you got? Oh, good. A couple. Sweet. A bunch of my members. You ready? 4 cents. Doesn't sound like a lot. What's 4 times 150 contracts? Awesome. Well done, Steve. So there's a bunch of folks in this room that are already up $600. Right? $600. David, we'll talk about that in a little bit. Okay. So Jeff went at 14. Yeah, exactly. Well, it ran away. We'll talk about it in a little bit if it ran away from you, but it's run away from me, so I'm not gonna get run after it. But 600, good. Kathy, awesome. Not a member, got filled at 15 cents. That's great. So if you did 150 contracts, which we'll talk about in a couple minutes, you're up $600 in under an hour. So there you go. Men lie, numbers don't. But here's what's interesting. Why am I doing a bull put spread on China? Right? I'm not going to get super tactical right now. I just want to bring up the chart of FXI. If you're not familiar with FXI, we've been trading this thing. It's been fantastic. I love trading FXI. It's the iShares large cap China ETF. This thing moves on tweets, it moves on statements, and it's great. Absolutely love it. Steve Mnuchin, we're going to have a trade deal with China by next Friday. Okay, and Trump, get on an airplane, come home. There ain't no trade deal. Holy shnikes. G20 summit. Hey, we're going to be talking again. No, we're not. Yes, I can, every big pop and drop in FXI, I can tell you what happened. So we're going to talk about tactically in a couple minutes what's going on with FXI, and it's awesome. But here is why I look to place a bull put spread. Their GDP print the other day is the worst GDP print out of China in 27 years. Why would you be bullish on FXI, Wiz? Well, you haven't been here as a member before because the PBOC, the People's Bank of China, essentially their Fed, is getting ready to pump money into the market to keep it afloat. If you were here for a year, you would know back, man, we have to use a 2-year chart. You see this section in here? 4 times. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 times. 4 times. The PBOC jumped in to put monetary stimulus into their banking system and into their companies. And guess what happened each time? Pop, little sugar high drop. Pop, no sugar high drop. Pop, almost no sugar high drop. What do I mean by that? It's kind of like the Fed, folks. When they cut interest rates, the market goes, yay, Interest rates are low, stocks will grow. And then what happens? 2 days after the Fed bartender gets us drunk, what do? Wait a minute. The Fed cutting interest rates means things might be crappy and let's go down. That's exactly what's about to happen. I can't predict when the PBOC is going to jump in, but it's pretty damn close. It's going to be either this week or next week. So that's why we put on the trade out the next week. And if you also saw in the text, I said I'm most likely going to leg into an iron condor, which we'll talk about in a couple minutes, which is a range-bound trade. Look at this. After Trump walked away, we skidded along a range down here. We had a couple big news things, and now what happened? We're flat. So slowing growth. Look at the headline out of the Journal yesterday. Slowing growth raises pressure on China's stimulus efforts. Expectations what? Grow that Beijing will ease credit to boost spending. This was a horrific GDP print. And ladies and gentlemen, do you actually believe that the Chinese government is reporting what? Do you actually believe that they are reporting what? 6.2. It's worse. Okay? So I'll save you. This is my job. I read all this stuff. It's my job to give you the cliff notes and give you what? A brief. But get ready, folks. This is going to the PBOC is going to jump in and pump it up, so to speak, and then it's not going to do anything. The war of words continues. What did the president do yesterday? He jumped on the grave of Twitter. Of China. China's second quarter growth is the slowest it has been in more than 27 years. Tariffs are having a major effect, wanting companies to leave China. He's right. Thousands of companies are leaving. I don't know about that. This is why China wants to make a deal with the U.S. and wishes it had not broken the original deal in the first place. In the meantime, we're receiving billions of dollars in tariffs from China, with possibly much more to come. These tariffs are paid for by China, devaluing and pumping, not by the U.S. taxpayer. Yes, maybe, I don't know. Put a torpedo right into China yesterday. Here's what was shocking. Nothing. What happened in the old days, and by the old days, I mean a year ago, you see these violent pops and drops and pops. This is a Twitter thing. This is the Chinese responding. What's going on now? Nobody believes a word he says, Mnuchin says, Lighthizer says, Larry Kudlow, who was brought from CNBC to be Trump's market whisperer, even he said, the market ain't moving on this. What happened today when the president said, what did he say? He had a cabinet meeting. He said, nothing's going on. The trade talks suck. Holy crap. A year ago, ladies and gentlemen, the VIX would have been up 30% and the market would have been off 500 points. Does everybody remember those days? Give me a vertical head nod. Back in those days, Trump walking out to his helicopter, Marine One, going to be a huge deal. Just got off the phone with Xi, huge. Nobody does deals like me. Xi, me, friends. Market was up 1,000 points. Those days are over with. So look at this. As this thing imploded right around here, it got down to 15 cents. I said, damn, I want to get filled on this. Why? Because I knew that was going to happen, and that's exactly what happened. Nothing. Good. So, all right, a couple of people got 14 cents. Great. Free full throttle training, already up $600. By tomorrow afternoon, maybe we'll pay for your annual membership. So, what did China do? Last night or morning, Trump slams Trump's totally misleading trade deal claims. This is getting serious, folks. I mean, it's been serious, but it's getting worse. I've been laughing at so-called financial reporters and CNBC and all these idiots who say what? Oh, the ceasefire. There is no ceasefire, folks. If you've ever been shot at, you know that a ceasefire means you're not getting shot at. Can't stand these Wall Street Journal or headlines or these idiots on CNBC going, oh, the ceasefire is it. We're still shooting. As the president just said, we're bringing in tens of billions of dollars. There ain't no ceasefire, folks. I hate when people can't talk military. Signs point to trade war dragging on as China strikes a hard line tone. So they added a new negotiating team, the country's commerce minister, who is seen as what? A hardliner. So we have the same thing. We have a Mnuchin. I think Wilbur Ross is gone, Mr. Magoo, after what happened yesterday. So the U.S. side has provoked economic and trade blah blah. The trade progress has been in reverse. Not good. Back to FXI. What's going on? Nothing. I think FXI settling into we're just going to sit on our hands for a little bit, so we can maybe place a range bound trade. All right, let's move. Stocks are doing what? Down. We're treading water here, man, at record highs. Rip your face off rally, pull back flat. Rip your face off rally, big pullback. Rip your face off rally, pull back. Rip your face off, we keep going? No. It's physically impossible. Very, very mixed bank earnings today. The only thing that saved Goldman Sachs earnings today were what? Trading. Their proprietary trading arm. I know a lot about. Used to know the head of GSAM, Goldman Sachs Asset Management, up in Chicago. We used to clear through Goldman. J.P. Morgan, Wells Fargo. We had Citi yesterday. The financials are mixed. That ain't good. Remember, folks, financials and transports tend to lead the market in or the economy and out of bad. Think about it. Transports, FedEx, CSX, one of our core positions, reporting after the close. Somebody's secretary leaked something. Let's take a look at CSX. It was up about 2% earlier. Look at this. Whoop. Look at CSX today. They have earnings after the close. You're telling me it was up 2% within the opening hour? Somebody's betting on what? Some good news out of CSX. Let me give you the history of CSX. When did we get into it? A Gordon Gekko moment. CSX. Hold on. Let me bring up, was it 1 year? Okay, this charting's screwing up. Let me go over here. CSX. Is it right around here? Is there anybody know what happened to CSX? The CEO died unexpectedly, right? I think it was right there. Yeah. What happened? The CEO died unexpectedly. The stock is up 164% since we did that. So I like to jokingly tell my members that I wear two suits at Top Gun Options. I wear a flight suit, and I'll tell you what I feel as an American. And, hey, this is a hold your nose trade, but I'm going to get into it. And then I wear a $6,000 Armani, right? I actually don't. I'd kick my own butt if I ever wore something like that or bought. But I have everybody's seen the movie Wall Street, right? Gordon Gekko. We had a Gordon Gekko moment. I was dying to get in transports. Why? The one area of maybe bipartisan agreement in Washington has been what? Infrastructure. Donald Trump, I build stuff. This is me. Infrastructure, huge deal. What happened a month and a half ago? Nancy Pelosi, on the way to an infrastructure meeting at the White House, tells reporters the president's breaking the law and needs to be impeached. What happened when she got to the White House? He walked in there and said, we're done. We're not doing anything for the next 2 years if that's your attitude. Can anybody tell me what happened to that whole impeachment talk? So we got in CSX after the CEO died. It had like a 5% immediate pullback, and then we haven't looked back. CSX is a great trade. Once you become a member, I'll show you how to get long-term bullish on CSX. Thanks, David. I appreciate it. You bet. It was an honor to serve. Okay, let's move. But what I'm getting at, folks, is financials and transports. Think about it. Financials, if they ain't good, they're not. People aren't getting loans or home loans, small business loans. If financials aren't printing money, usually it doesn't bode well for the economy. I like to call it a canary in the coal mine. Transports are the same way. Does anybody remember FedEx earnings? Last month? FedEx came out and warned twice, ladies and gentlemen. They warned twice that they were going to have awful earnings. And what happened? They had almost less than awful earnings, and the stock went up a little bit. The transports ain't looking too hot. I was just watching Power Lunch. I know some of the guys could not disagree more. And there's been a lot of times where we've disagreed and we've been right and those guys have been wrong. So mixed earnings. How about retail sales? Retail sales solid in June. Very, very good retail sales, folks. Let's take a look down here. Look at this. We had negative, or we had 0.4% last month. They were looking for a little bit of a decrease. What happened? Solid retail sales. Same thing up here. And remember, core retail sales, whenever you see the word core in any sort of reporting, it means what? Excluding something. So X autos was solid and with autos was solid. Okay, the cap utilization rate, a little bit mixed, and industrial production was not good. Inventories getting off the shelf, which is pretty good. And the NAHB, the National Association of Home Builders, was a beat. So you ready for this, folks? Let's break this down, and hopefully you know where I'm going. Retail sales good, cap rate industrial production weak, with business inventories kind of good, and the home builders saying things are good. Good, bad. Why am I pointing this out? What's supposed to be happening in a couple weeks? July 30th and 31st is a Fed meeting. We just saw solid macroeconomic data with a little brown shoot, so to speak. Why on earth, with a blistering jobs report 2 weeks ago, right? 224,000 jobs. Forget the last month of the 75 grand. That was an anomaly. We are seeing consistent job growth. We're seeing solid GDP, mixed but mostly solid macroeconomic data. Why on God's green earth is the Federal Reserve cutting interest rates? Tell me, right? I believe the Fed should raise interest rates, if not sit on their hands. You could blame Donald Trump for beating the hell out of Jerome Powell, but you most can blame the market. So I'm telling you, ladies and gentlemen, at the end of the month, the Fed, they're going to cut. I mean, we had Morgan Stanley last week came out and said they need to cut 50 basis points. Are you kidding? Market drunks running around asking for more opium to smoke. I think the Fed, after a couple weeks of solid to mixed earnings and macro data, and the market at record highs, is going to be one and done. And if they cut rates, and say, hey, we're kind of good for a little bit, the market's going to go full freak mode. Period. Get ready. Like I said, CSX is after the close. Second quarter results. I think they're going to be solid. I think CSX is a solid company. Maybe tomorrow, or if we do Thursdays, analyze your trade, I will show you how to hop in your time machine, in your Joint Strike Fighter, and fly the speed of light out to January of 2021 and be bullish on CSX. This is a multi-year trade that could be a $50,000 to $75,000 trade on about $5,000 in an investment. Okay, so we'll see how CSX does after the close. Here's another thing that should worry you. I haven't heard. Obviously, we still got tech earnings. We have a lot of big earnings to go, but share buybacks. Now, all of my members, we got a couple hundred members in the Primary Live Trade Brief. You guys aren't allowed to answer this, and I know most of you. Answer this question, non-members. Who has been the number one buyer of the S&P 500 year to date? Non-members only. I want to see where your knowledge is. Who has been the number one buyer of the S&P 500 year to date? Donald Trump. Nope. Steve got it. Al got it. Yep. Not China. Nope. Not the Fed. Most folks are kind of in the ballpark. The number one buyer of the S&P 500 year to date has been the S&P 500. That's the answer. Companies have been buying back a ton of their own shares. That's what propped this market up, along with the Fed hopium and Trump saying we might get a trade deal. Those days are ending. Decline in share buybacks pose a hurdle for the stock market. Oh boy, that's not good. How are earnings supposed to be? Suck. Earnings season almost here, and companies are warning the results won't be pretty. That's not good. Since the second time since 2006, I was sitting on the floor of the CBOT the last time this happened. That was a long time ago. 77% of the companies that are going to report are saying they're going to be awful. They have given negative earnings guidance. Now, for all my new members, you're welcome to an insider's view of Wall Street. This is the Wall Street mentality. If you can't hit the ball over the net, what do they do on Wall Street? They lower the net. What do? They say, hey, earnings aren't going to be that good. So go out and pre-warn that earnings are going to be horrific. And then when we report and they're less than horrific, the stock will go up. It's a game. It's been like that for ages, and it still continues to this day. I guarantee you towards the end of earnings, you're going to see a CNBC highlight that says 70% of the companies that have reported have beat, 20% have been in line, and 10% have missed. I think they use the same graphic for the past 30 years, folks. But this time, it really is kind of the truth that earnings aren't that solid. Period. But we'll see how we react. Ladies and gentlemen, it's funny that at Top Gun Options, we beat the market, we beat the news by months, sometimes years. 8 months ago, the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, I have a good buddy, Shrek, I told you about. He actually works in the office of the commandant, but this was on national TV. General Joseph Dunford, 4-star Marine. He's the chairman of the JCS. He testified under oath, which he doesn't have to do as a Marine, but he testified under oath that Google is working for the People's Liberation Army. Do you know how much coverage that got in our national news media? You heard it here. Now people are blowing up because yesterday or Sunday, he was on Fox last night, Peter Thiel. He's a Silicon Valley billionaire. What did he say? Google is working for the Chinese military. And even him saying it didn't get that much play. Why? Because MSNBC, NBC, this, CNN are all in bed with Google and all the other limousine liberal tech companies. This is the same company who a year ago, ladies and gentlemen, dropped the phrase, do no evil. It used to be on their headquarters on their wall. This company used to have do no evil on their wall and on their website, and they dropped it. What happened about 9 months ago? Google pulled out of a couple Pentagon contracts and said what? The Pentagon is not aligned with our corporate values. Let me say this again for the love of God. Google dropped out of Pentagon contracts because they're not aligned with their corporate values. Is everybody awake? Sometimes I sit here on a daily basis and I go, am I the only person with half a brain on this planet? This is actually happening. When you have the chairman of the Joint Chiefs saying, dude, I have the highest level clearance, I give military advice to the president, this company's working with the Chinese. What did the president say today in the cabinet meeting? I think they might be engaging in treasonous activities. What does stock do? Nothing. But I'm going to warn you, ladies and gentlemen, this is a wizism you should write down. The market only cares when it cares. Okay, kind of like the FANGs. Nobody cared for a while, then they imploded, then nobody cared again. Now keep an eye on all this stuff, guys. The FBI, the Department of Justice, and all this stuff. Yeah, exactly, Karen. All right, let's move. Amazon doing fantastic. Stock obviously is moving sideways. One day, Amazon Prime deal. Walmart and Target, people are like, well, why like Walmart more than Target? You can't. They don't have. So what do these have that these guys don't? Right? And I've been getting about 50 emails every 30 seconds from Costco. I'm a Costco member, but they can't. It's another way to tighten its grip on shoppers by getting them to enroll in the Prime membership program. Walmart and Target, Best Buy don't have it. Do not invest in Walmart or Target. They're not even close. Does Walmart or Target have their own Walmart or Target Air? No, they don't, folks. Amazon, it's a separate service here, Top Gun Options. I'm not going to cloud the waters here. We do that every Monday at 3 o'clock. Great. We had a 3.5 day trade last week for $1,500. But this is on fire. Why am I bringing this up? Because Jeff Bezos, around the time that Google was saying, we don't like the Pentagon and stuff like that. Jeff Bezos said, what? We're an American company. We support the Pentagon. That's why I think they might get the JEDI contract. We briefed this yesterday in our weekly options brief, or solo Amazon brief. Morgan Stanley came out with a note yesterday and said this new business that they're launching is a $100 billion opportunity. What are they doing? Putting 3,236 small satellites into space to connect the world with high-speed internet anywhere, in the middle of Zimbabwe to Antarctica. $100 billion. If you're not in our solo Amazon service, was it $97 a month? We are printing money in solo Amazon. We have people, Greg, I don't know if Greg, you're in here, up 102 grand when he closed out his last Amazon trade with like one contract. Insane. Amazon is the place to be. I can't wait for earnings to come out on Amazon. All right. What else did I have to cover? No, this is more Amazon stuff. What else do we get the rest of the week? Hang on here. Besides earnings, we get tomorrow building permits and housing starts. Okay, so the National Association of Home Builders had a good survey today. Tomorrow we get building permits and housing starts. We'll get the Fed's beige book. Yawn. Folks, we saw the Fed meeting. We saw the January. We saw the July 30, 31 Fed meeting. What are you talking about, Wiz? It's in 2 weeks. No, it was last week. Did everybody watch Jerome Powell's testimony? That was the Fed meeting, folks. He more or less told us what he's doing. It's going to be a waste of time. That's why I think they're going to disappoint. Thursday, the Philly Fed weekly conference. The Conference Board's leading index of economic indicators. And then we'll get a bunch of stuff. Consumer sentiment and expectations. Bullard is a Fed lieutenant. He's speaking. He's the St. Louis Fed. This guy's a dove. What time? Due to speak about technology. It doesn't say a time. Bullard is the guy who about a month ago said we need to cut rates. He's an Uber dove like what's his name? Okay. All right. I'm good. So right now, ladies and gentlemen, as I briefed you last night, my strategic mindset is cautiously bullish. What does cautiously mean? We're going to talk about cautiously tomorrow because we have got to look at volatility. Take a look at the VIX. Wiz, in your strategic and operational brief, you thoroughly scared the hell out of me. China, Iran, market record high, blah, Fed might. Look at where we are, folks. We are back. Let me show you 6 months. If you don't know what the VIX is, it's the volatility index, right? They call it the market's fear gauge. I don't. You know what it is to me? Wherever you see the word volatility for the rest of your trading or investing career, cut and paste the word uncertainty. It's the uncertainty index. Look at this. A little bit of a freak out, nothing, a little bit of a freak out. And we had a month and a half of, look down here, folks. The VIX broke 11. 11. What did I tell my members? Get ready to get long volatility. Sometime in the next month, something's going to happen to freak the market out. And what happened? Donald Trump told Mnuchin and Lighthizer to get on a plane. There ain't no deal. The VIX was up essentially 89% in a week. Now we've had little freakouts, and we're almost back down. I call this our resting heart rate. The VIX, ladies and gentlemen, isn't a stock. It's not like Amazon that goes up and to the right. Yay, we're printing money. That's not what the VIX does. The VIX is a heart rate monitor. Freaked out a little bit. Nah, we're not. Everything's good. Freaked out. Everything's absolutely perfect. Nothing can go wrong. Oh, crap. What's it do, though? It returns to its median. The median VIX, since it was launched by the SIBO in 93, 94, is what? Can anybody tell me what the median VIX is since 1993? What's the median VIX, folks? Anybody? 16? Nope. 30? No. 18? No. Close. 12? No. Yep, a couple people got it. A 20. The median VIX since 1993 is 20. We are down at 1275. Now, if you just sat here and said, you know what, Wiz? you freaked me the hell out sufficiently, then you need to be talking about getting long volatility. And we're going to take a look at that tomorrow. And we use VXX as a potential instrument to use there. Okay. I think we have a VXX position in here we got to cover. Positions. Yep, recovering nicely here. The 22.5, 23 by Friday. What's our break even on that trade? Break even is 22.88. Let me bring this up, VXX, 22.88. Yeah, so we're what, 12 cents away from break even on this trade. I believe between Friday, ooh, look at this. Dang it. Did FXI's coming back in. I just got filled on that bull put spread. Ooh, what is VXX doing? Or I'm sorry, FXI doing? Order ticket. It's up here at 14 cents. So, all right, now it's time to get tactical. And what a good place to start is the trade I just got filled on. So, this, ladies and gentlemen, I just gave you my let's everybody have their handout, right? Their one-page trade plan. Look underneath the handout section over on your control panel over here. It says TGO trade plan one-page PDF. This is a one-page trade checklist. You should have that out. Why? We're going through our 7 steps right now. Strategic mindset, cautiously bullish. Target is FXI. Step 3, our commit criteria. You ready for this? What are commit criteria? Between 3 to 5 laser-like sentences about why you're committing capital to this trade. Why are you in it? Why do you want to get in it and commit capital? So you need about 3 to 5 sentences. I kind of gave you about 10 minutes of commit criteria about FXI, but let's try and boil it down into our elevator pitch, right? FXI reacts to news. The non-reaction to the president's tweet yesterday and saying that trade deal isn't a done deal and we're far off means that the PBOC, per this brief, is going to jump in with some stimulus. Slowing growth raises pressure on China's stimulus efforts. Between now and next Friday, I believe the PBOC is going to inject liquidity into the Chinese markets, and FXI is going to either pop or at least stay level at the middle of this Keltner channel. Thank you. Good night. Try the veal. I counted, or I tried to count mentally, those sentences. I think it was 5. 3 to 5 sentences about why you're committing capital to this trade. You should be able to look at somebody, give them that 3 to 5 sentences, and if they go, that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard, they're the idiot, right? How many of you, after listening to that commit criteria, believe that it's a solid trade? Now, before I move on in our trade plan, I'm going to red team my trade. What do you mean? I'm going to become my own enemy. What could go wrong in this trade? President Trump could come out and say, we're not going to have a trade deal and things are awful. He just did. So that isn't a threat. What's he going to come out tomorrow and say, hey, did you hear me yesterday? Things are really a threat. Ladies and gentlemen, he already did that. And what did FXI do? Pulled back and gave it all back. I told you in the old days, what? We'd be down, this thing would keep imploding. Okay? China could come out and say something bad. They already did, folks. Beijing slams Trump's totally misleading trade deal claims. They already did war games. What are they going to do more and say more? So they can, what I'm getting at, but I've been trading FXI for years, folks, and we've been printing money on it. It's a headline move. This is why when you look at the chart, I think it's hanging out. So let me tell you, I'm going to break down the tactic in step 4. We've done 3 steps so far. What's my strategic mindset? What am I targeting? And my commit criteria. Now, let's talk about tactical employment. I'm bullish to neutral on FXI. What do I mean by that, right? I don't think, and you see this red line right here, ladies and gentlemen? That's the 50-day moving average of this thing. Kind of looks like we have a little bit of support at the middle of this Keltner channel, but also at this moving average. Okay? So I'm bullish to neutral on FXI. So if I don't think FXI is going to go down by next Friday, or it's going to go up because the PBOC is going to inject some capital. What can I do? If I don't think something's going to go down, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to sell a put, right? Look at the 50-day moving average. Everybody see what that says right there? 41.53. I'm selling, or I did sell, I'm filled on this. I sold the 41.5 put out to next Friday. That's me saying, hey, FXI, I don't think you're going to be below 41.5 by next Friday. Okay? When I sell a put, that's what I do. I'm sorry, it's upside down. The 42 put, not the 41.5. Okay? So right there, selling the 42 put means I don't think this is going to be below 41.5. Now, what if I'm wrong? Wiz, you are wrong. Between now and next Friday, this thing implodes. The PBOC doesn't inject liquidity, and the war of words gets worse. I still don't think it's going to implode, folks, but I'm asking what if, right? Told you last night, we contingency plan in all of our trades. What if it implodes? Well, that's why we're going to buy these downside puts. I'm buying puts, the 41.5s, right at the 50-day moving average. So our losses are limited. If FXI implodes to 40 by next Friday, our losses are stopped out below 41.5 because we're long those puts. Okay? So I'm bullish to neutral on FXI. I'm using puts, and it's a spread. What's this tactic called? A bull put spread. Bullish on FXI to neutral, using puts, and it's a spread. I like to name things what they are. It's a bull put spread. But some of you who might be familiar with options, well, Wiz, wait, it looks like you're getting paid to do this trade. It's also called a credit spread, right? Yeah, it is. Well, and it's a vertical spread. Folks, you can call it 3 separate names. I don't. BPS, bull put spread. But at the end of the day, it is a credit spread because we're getting paid to do this trade. When I sent out the text alert at 15 cents, right, I said plus or minus 3 cents. So I sent out a text alert and email that said, I'll try and get filled at mid-market, which at the time was 15 cents, plus or minus 3 cents. So I actually stuck to my trade alert, and I actually got filled at 13. That brings in a credit, ladies and gentlemen, of $2,000, $1,950. I'm bringing in, I got paid $1,950. Okay. Now, you're not gonna like this visual here, but I'm gonna turn into a Catholic nun, right? I unfortunately went to Catholic schools. I went to an all-boys Catholic high school. Thanks, Mom and Dad. Anyway, I'm gonna turn into Sister Mary Matthew. When I click this Analyze button, I want your eyes to go to one place and one place only. And that's going to be max potential loss. It's going to be a sad face or an angry face. It's the only place you're going to look when I click on this. You ready? 3, 2, 1, angry face, max potential loss. If I didn't tell the non-members not to look there first, every one of you would have looked at here first. Why? It's at the top. It says max profit because that's what I want to make, and it's got a nice green smiley dude. Do not ever look there first. Why? Because I'm going to turn you into a disciplined options trader. A fighter pilot and options trader looks here first. If you're not comfortable with losing that, don't ever look here. It's stupid. Max potential loss 55.50. Now, I told you last night, I'm going to teach you throughout the week that we have what we call SOPs at Top Gun Options, Standard Operating Procedures. For a $100,000 model portfolio, which this is, my SOP is I don't want to risk more than 5% on any one trade. And if you're a political science major, I'll do the math. $5,000. Where'd you come up with that? I've been doing this for 27 years, right? 27 years. That's me. I don't want to risk more than $5,000 on any one trade. I want to live the fight again. A lot of you just, I'll talk to people and say, hey, I'm in this trade, Wiz. Okay, great. What's the max risk? I can make a couple. I didn't ask you that. What's the max risk? Right? That's me. So that's for my portfolio. We have two billionaires here, and we have folks with very small accounts. I can't give you investment advice. If you're looking at it going, well, that's a little too rich for my blood, great. Guess what that $5,500 is based on? 150 contracts. Man, I don't want to risk more than $2,000. Okay, do, I don't know, 70 or 75. Wiz, I'm a millionaire and I don't mind risking 11 grand. Okay, good for you. Do 300 contracts. I can't tell you, but you're getting to watch what I doing, right? You're looking over the shoulder of me standing on the floor of the SIBO. So if you don't want to risk $5,500, don't risk $5,500. That's based on 150 contracts. Everybody give me a vertical head nod that you've been briefed. So as the pilot in command, you do this. Max potential loss, 5,500. That's in accordance with my SOP. I acknowledge my risk. You own the jet, folks. Pilot in command of your portfolio. Not me. I ain't flying your jet. I fly my own jet. I'll teach you how I fly my jet, and then you can figure it out. Now, once I acknowledge and I give it a check, I go up here and say, okay, now what is my max potential profit? $2,000. Not a bad trade between now and next Friday, potentially making $2,000. Now, if you look under the dollar amounts, you'll see probability for max profit, 62%. Probability for max loss, 22%. That math is done using current at the money volatility in those options. This trade is awesome. Why? We make money 3 out of 4 ways on this trade. There's only 1 out of 4 times you're going to lose on this trade. Over here, ladies and gentlemen, is what we call a P&L diagram, profit and loss. You see the dotted line right there? That's the current price as we're talking of FXI. How do we make money on this trade? Well, FXI can go up, see all the green right there, and we make money. FXI can do what it's doing and has done for the past week and just kind of hang out, and we make money. FXI can even go down, ladies and gentlemen, as long as it stays above what? Our break even. The break even in this trade is 41.87, and if you look in there, there's a 66% probability of at least breaking even. Right? How's this trade lose money? It goes below our break even. Right? Now, we've talked through the strategic mindset, our target, our commit criteria, the tactical employment, mid-course guidance, and exit, steps 6 and 7. Isn't this awesome? We are going through a trade plan. How many of you have run around in the financial education land space where the dude or the lady said, you need to use a trade plan, and you ask them for one and they don't give you one? I gave you one. Sandeep, I kind of briefed that for a long time. Wiz, Trump said China deal is far away. Don't you think FXI could go down due to that? He has repeatedly, Sanjay. So that's why I think we're hanging for now. The reason I don't think it's going to go down, I don't want to restate everything I said, is this. Slowing growth raises pressure on China's stimulus efforts. Not only do I not think FXI is going to go down in a week and a half, I think it's going to pop. I think between now and next Friday, you will see a news article, or I will brief you on a news article, that the PBOC, the People's Bank of China, has injected liquidity in there, and you will see this up a couple percent. Okay? All right, we got to move. All right. Jeff, China Fed will prop up FXI. Yep, just answered that. All right, so now let's go to mid-course guidance and ask what if and when we're going to exit. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're not familiar with a credit spread, you're getting paid to do this. The market just put 14 cents in your pocket. 14 times 150, there you go, $2,100. If you're trying to get filled at 14 cents, you bring in a credit of $2,100. Ladies and gentlemen, you want all of those 14 cents. You want this trade to, quote, expire worthless, right? You want it to go to zero. You want all 14 cents to click into your pocket, penny at a time. If FXI, if the value of this trade starts going up, that means FXI for some reason is going down. That's not a good thing, right? So here's what I tend to do. I call this the maybe eject point. Some people think trading is complex or flying off an aircraft carrier is complex. How do we battle complexity with simplicity? This is really easy math. When would I maybe consider getting out of this trade so I don't take that $5,500 loss? Simply double the credit that you take in. 14 times 2 is 28 cents. If this trade goes up to 28 cents, that's when I take my oxygen mask off and I kind of rub my chin in the cockpit and go, why is this not going the way it's supposed to be going? Maybe eject if this trade goes up to 28 cents. One more time, I'm going to tell you, you want this to go, you want all 14 cents, you want it at 0. If it starts increasing, that means, let me move the ticket over. Just a reminder, if FXI starts going down, the price of this trade is going to increase. Makes sense, right? You're the insurance company. Whoa, there's a storm coming. Well, the premium's increasing. You want hurricane insurance. So this is bad. Again, write this down, folks. And I know I already got filled on this. I already did this trade plan as I sat here getting ready for the webinar and sent this out. I did this on my own quickly, right? But if you're kind of stepping through this with me, we haven't even placed the trade yet, and we know where we might get out of it before we take the max loss. Discipline. So when that point is reached, if we go down to 28 cents, you have a warning light in your cockpit that pops up and says, Wiz said maybe I should eject at this point. Now we're going to go back to what we covered last night. When it hits 28 cents, I'm going to go back and look at my trade journal, my trade plan, and go, these were the 3 to 5 sentences, the commit criteria, step 3. I gave you 5 sentences. I gave you 5 sentences as to why I'm in this trade. If any one of those sentences has changed, eject. I'll say it again. Go up to the commit criteria in your trade plan, and if any of them have changed, eject. Oh, yeah, you know what? Thanks for reminding me. I'll tell you what, when I get done in a couple minutes or 10, whatever it is, I'm going to give you a form, a trade plan form that you need to start using. You want to be a better trader, you're here. I'm going to make you the best of the best. Everything else out there is crap, and I'm not joking. Now, Wiz, you talked about mid-course guidance, and maybe now let's talk about profits. You already scared me with the bad. Okay, I acknowledge it. Now let's talk about the good. Write this down. If you are seeing a 70, 80, or 90% profit on this credit that you take in, close the trade. 70, 80, 90%. What's that? $1,500, $1,600, $1,700. If you're seeing about $1,500, $1,600, or $1,700 between now and next Friday, close it. Why? Who was it? Steve Miller, right? The Steve Miller Band. Like the guy in the song said, go on, take the money and run. How many of you, if you trade spreads before, have been looking at a 70, 80, 90% profit and said, you know what? It's Tuesday. This trade expires Friday. I know I'm up $1,500, but there's another $500 in here by Friday. I want that $500. Breaking news, China's invaded Taiwan and the U.S. is at war with China. The FXI is down 97%. And you take a 70, 80, 90% winning trade and you turn it into a max loss. Don't answer because I'll tell you out of the nearly 1,000 people in here, if you've traded spreads in the past, you've done this. And some of you do it to this day. Stop it. Discipline. Pigs get slaughtered. Stop being a pig. I know nobody who's gone broke taking a profit. If you're the type of person that says, All right, I got out at $1,500 for profit, and it expires Friday, and you could have made the extra 500, and you're pissed off that you didn't make the next $500. Don't become a TGO member because you're an awful trader right now, and I mean that. We're not going to get along. Do not look at it on Friday and be like, I got out at 70, because there's just as even odds that what I'm saying happened. I'm telling you, man, I don't know how many times. Learn from me, guys, meaning I've done this before. I've done on Thursday, it's up 90%. There's $200 left, but that's drinking money, man. And I go play golf on Friday, and I look at my phone after the market closes, and breaking news, and I turn a 90% winning trade into a 100% loser. Does everybody understand this? Somebody just asked if this is a live session. Yes. There, I just smacked myself in the face. No, this is not a replay, folks. This is a live session. Does everybody understand that? And I'm dropping anchor here, ladies and gentlemen, because I went through steps 1 through 7 in our trade plan, and we didn't. I know we got filled on this, but I usually haven't even placed the trade yet. We know when we're going to get out for minimum loss and when we're going to get out for max profit. Now you can press send and fire it away. I guarantee you absolutely nobody in this room does that level of trade planning that we do here. You want, David, I used to let my credit spreads all expire until I lost 60 grand in one day. David, if you don't mind, I'm going to share that with folks. So I just got that in the chat box. Thank you, David, for sharing that. David's also a member. I used to let my credit spreads all expire until I lost 60 grand in one day. I'm going to tell David I've flown formation on you. I haven't lost that much in a day because of that. But when I was a young aviator, full of, nothing can hurt me. I had a couple trades like that too, where I'm like, it's fine. On the same day, there's a couple $100 left. That's drinking money for the weekend. And by the close, it's at max loss. The only person you have to blame if that happens is you. Bill, thank you for the thanks for that. I appreciate that. So Bill, and one of the reasons I say I guarantee it is because I go spy, man. I go do intel, folks, to make sure I'm doing good. So look at what Bill just said. No one anywhere else that I'm aware of does this level of trade planning. This is how you have to treat it, ladies and gentlemen. I'm very passionate about this because I was you. I was a retail trader, went to Wall Street, ran a billion-dollar firm. I know this is what you need. Why? Because I've been you. I've been there, man. We don't like to say, but we do say that an SOP, standard operating procedure, is written in blood. Why? Because people have screwed up, and then we write it down like, hey, don't do that. So we just went through live a trade plan. And you know what? I set up an alert. Where's my positions here? We got to talk about Visa too, because Visa earnings are coming up. Our Visa, since last Wednesday or Tuesday, our Visa trades up, was that $2,600 in a week. So we did this Visa synthetic stock a week ago. This time last Tuesday, it's up $2,600 in a week. That right there pays for an annual Full Throttle Max membership. One trade, 1 week. I'll review that in a second. But right here, this FXI trade, it's essentially we're flat right now, right? I got filled at 13. What's my eject? 13 times 2 is 26 cents, right? There you go. Alert created successfully. Now I'm going to get a little heads up when, if it hits the eject point. Don't fly around on autopilot, folks. Get a little threat warning. Now I'm going to tell you right now that we might leg into an iron condor. If I just lost you, like, dude, I was hanging on the back of the airplane when you were talking about a bull put spread. What's an iron condor? Don't worry about the term. When you become a Full Throttle member, I'm going to give you eight live training sessions from this is a call, this is a put, all the way up to an iron condor. An iron condor, ladies and gentlemen, is nothing but a range-bound trade. So I just said I think FXI is going to hang where it is and maybe even pop if the PBOC injects some capital. Why am I going to maybe leg into an iron condor? Because after it pops, it's going to drop. Between now and next Friday, I strongly believe the PBOC is going to add some liquidity. It will pop, and then we've been doing this for years in FXI, folks. Can it change this week? Yeah, it won't. I told you, ladies and gentlemen, PBOC, there was a PBOC, and it drops. We do the same thing in the United States. The Fed, remember Ben Bernanke, 2 Fed chiefs ago? We had what going on, folks? Quantitative easing, QE, pumping. At one point, Ben Bernanke was pumping $85 billion a day into the market, a month into the market. What happened? Once he took that stuff away, we had, what do we call it? A taper tantrum. Does everybody remember? Well, the Fed's going to taper their asset purchases. I called it a taper tantrum. Overseas in China, it's a hell of a lot quicker. Literally back here, it was like PBOC, huge pop. A couple days later, that's not good. And the pops got briefer. So if you're going to become a member, because this is the best thing out there, but what I'm going to tell you, between now and next Friday, if we get a pop on the PBOC injecting capital, I will sell against that pop. If we see something like that, like boom, I'll sell the heck out of it. First of all, if we do see that pop, what's the bull put spread going to do? Maybe hit our profit target of 70, 80, 90%, and we'll close it if it hits one of those profit targets. And then I'm going to sell a bear call spread. What's a bear call spread? Just kind of the opposite of that bull put spread. The bull put spread was saying, I don't think FXI is going to go down. The bear call spread is, I don't think it's going to go up above a certain level. So I'm just giving you that. That's why it said in the text alert, right? It said in the text alert that, so here, the bear call spread right there would be up here and the bull put spread's down here. So an iron condor, ladies and gentlemen, is a range bound trade. You think it's going to stay in a range. So here's what somebody just asked if I could put the trade up again. Orders. I need to do something. I need to go get that trade plan and upload it for you guys. I said I'd do this last night. That's on me. One of my members, Robert, I don't know if you're in here. Robert's, dude's locked on. Where is he? Trade plan. No, it's this one. I think it's this one. All right, I'm going to share this with you. This, you can print this out, okay? I'm going to tell you what I told you last night, because repetition is the key to success. I landed at the field. They paint an aircraft carrier on the runway, and they have the optical landing system. They have the ship at the field. You landed the ship 800 times. Why? It's called muscle memory. You can print this thing out, and here's what you're going to do. You write it all down. What's my strategic mindset? What are my commit criteria for getting into this trade? There's something to be said. Don't type this, man. Don't. People, my daughter doesn't even know how to write cursive. People don't even write anymore. There's something to be said from picking up a pen, thinking about your commit criteria, going from your hand to a pen and looking at it. Write down your commit criteria. Then Robert put in a threat section. What are the threats to this trade? What's the VIX been doing lately, right? And then he's kind of got all the stuff over here. Hey, sell this strike, buy that strike. This thing is worth its weight in gold. This is another reason why when we get our 50, I'm going to be done for the week. We give away way too much stuff. It is a PDF. Let me upload it for you guys. What's it called? Trade Data Sheet 7. I think this is the newest version of it. Handouts. Let me upload this. Let me take a second. Good. Guys, I'm very passionate about what I do, man. And, if you can't tell that I like putting the ladder down and helping people out, you're nuts. All right, so this should be all right. Everybody go look over there and give me a virtual thumbs up or head nod that you can see that trade plan. And then I want to go look at some previous positions here. All right, good. Absolutely, you're welcome. Yep. And it's funny because, yeah, somebody just said what I was about to say. That's creepy. Somebody's like, man, you give a lot of stuff away. Well, this is, again, I'm not a, here's 98 PowerPoint slides, throw a lot of money at it, and then come see what we do. This is what we do here, man. We have a very tight trading squadron. All right, last week, wow, we had a bull put spread on EWZ. So here's the member page. Right now, you're looking at the primary live trade brief member page. So this is what we did last week. 9 July primary brief. We were dog fighting VXX and the VIX. We put on a new. We were looking at EWZ, a bull put spread. What's EWZ? EWZ, I'm going to teach you, is the Brazilian ETF. We've been trading this World Cup, Olympics, the election of Bolsonaro. The EWZ has been the gift that keeps on giving. We're going to cover that when you become a member. But this trade made $1,800 in, what was it, 2 days, 3 days? Then, where's the Visa? Visa, I think, was the week, or no, I put it on last week. I didn't post it because it was our base trade. Let me bring up our Visa trade that I have on right now. I'm going to sit on my hands with this one, folks, because earnings are coming up. All right. So this trade, ladies and gentlemen, on Visa is what we call synthetic stock. I am long Visa all the way out until June of 2021. This trade is called synthetic stock with a protective put. Ladies and gentlemen, by the time I close this trade around April or May of June of 2021, here's my prediction. This trade will be up $75,000 minimum. Pause for effect. Let me see what the initial cost was. Why? First of all, take a look at the chart of Visa. If you're not in Visa, man, this is one of our core positions as well. Let me bring up the chart. Look at that chart of Visa. 3 months, 6 months, 1 year, 2 year, 5 year. Look at that chart of Visa. This is the Federal Reserve chief in October doing his job and the market reacting to it. But look, take this out, and this thing just hasn't looked back. We've been in Visa for about 2 years. The 2-year performance in Visa is what? 85%. This is why I'm telling you the synthetic stock position that I'll teach you about how to get into will be a $75,000-ish trade. How much did it cost for us to get into it? Oh, here it is, Visa base. So it was back on 2 July. I'm sorry, my apologies. Right here. There it is. Look. So this is what the member posts look like. I send this out after the brief, maybe about 30 minutes. Up at the top, it's got a screenshot of all the trades we placed during that session. Then I do what? I put in the screenshots of the trades we placed that session. Where's the base? Here it is, folks. Look at this. The 170 synthetic covered call. 10 contracts was about 23.5. Half that would be about 11. There are folks out here, you can trade just one contract, folks. If you did one contract, this is about a $15,000 to $20,000 trade in a year and a half to 2 years. Anybody want to make 20 grand potentially in a year? It probably, no, 80. Obviously, past performance is equal future results, but Visa is going to get into the crypto space. It prints money. Anyway, so remember, you can scale your contracts accordingly. You don't have to do the amount that I'm doing. You're getting to eavesdrop. Holy crap, David. Let me share that one. I appreciate it. David's a lifetime member here. He's been doing some great work. So David, up 21 grand on Visa synthetic stock since last October. November, December, January, February, March, April, May, June, July. 8 months, David's up 21 grand. David, what was your entry? How much did you spend? What was your out of pocket to get into that? How many of you that's $3,000 a month. Does everybody understand the math? The dude's up 21 grand in one trade in 8 months. That trade is averaging that's one trade, ladies and gentlemen. We have a bunch of these going on, and we're not invested in stupid names. Raytheon, CSX, Amazon, XLY. So David, if you can, yeah, let me know what your entry was, okay? And who else is who's Diane? Are you in here? Kevin, I thought you were a Visa guy. Let me know your Visa victories, because I'd rather folks hear from you all than me. But Visa hasn't looked back. A little bit of a Fed misstep here, but to be honest with you, obviously this was the overall market. October 3rd, Jerome Powell saying, "Dude, October 3rd, Jerome Powell, we should be raising interest rates." What happened between October 3rd, him saying we should raise interest rates, and the Christmas massacre? What happened, folks, is the market imploded. I think the Fed is doing a horrible job, disgusting job. I think the dude should be fired. My Visa is up 109% in 2 months. Look at that, Leonard. Let me grab these. Well done, folks. Very, 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 very cool. All right, I want to save these. File save as. Yeah, we'll Visa from the PLTB. Nice job, folks. So these are active members. These are obviously they're active members are in here, but they're doing some good work. William, you know what? I'll answer that, but we're going to cover Raytheon tomorrow. Raytheon was one of our core holdings. I bailed out of Raytheon right here. Why? Because as you point out, they're merging. It's an acquisition. It's really not a merger technically with UTC, but the stock symbol is UTX, obviously. This is a screaming buy. This is our defense sector pick. Wow, look at that. Tamara's been here for what, 3 years? Tamara didn't know what an option was, came to our live event down in Miami, and the woman's been absolutely on fire for 3 years. Look at Tamara's Visa victories. I have Visa synthetic stock that is up 511% in 3 months. Let me get a hell yeah if anybody in this room who's not a current TGO member would like to make over a 500% return. Tamara Visa. This is why I love doing Full Throttle, because I love hearing about your victories. Let me get back to this, though. This is a screaming buy, ladies and gentlemen. Donald J. Trump, one of the reasons he got elected was to get us out of a lot of wars and stuff like that. That's not going to happen. I've been on the tip of the spear. I don't want war, but you have got to be long defense stocks. China and Russia are huge emerging threats. Joint Strike Fighter, F-20, we need technology, we need defense spending. With Raytheon and UTC getting together, we will, you know what, let's do that tomorrow. We'll talk about getting long UTX. I ditched my Raytheon because I want to get into UTX, but I actually am going to wait for earnings next week. Good question, though, Mike. Very good question. Thomas, Space Force. Thomas, you have to talk with your broker. I forget what level synthetic stock is. I don't think it's. I don't think there's too much to do. Mike, up 49 grand in Visa since joining TGO. Greg, his Visa long. You know what? Let me just show you everything that's going on in the chat box here, guys. You ready? Everybody look at what's going on in this chat box here. And here's a perfect example of why we only are taking 50 people, because usually our live trade briefs are in what's called go-to training, so everybody can see everybody's chat. It only holds up to 200 people. With thousands of people registered for Full Throttle, we have to be in GoToWebinar, and I am the only one that can see the chat, which sucks. But look at Mike. Up 49 grand in Visa since joining Top Gun Options. Arthur, I am up 100% in XLY, kept buying it as it goes on. And Greg, who's one of our Amazon kings, his Visa 2020 long call diagonal is up over 15 grand, 153%. Look at him. I did 10 contracts. Greg did 3. Look at that. It's 15 grand, ladies and gentlemen. 153%. This is awesome. I'm going to grab all this stuff too. So like the UTX, UTC, Raytheon question, let's talk about that tomorrow in AR, accelerator time, because that's a longer dated trade. Okay. Yeah. Whoever just asked, a quick review of the FXI bull put spread. I'll put the members. I'm going to have this posted on the member page in about 10 minutes. And then it takes about 30 minutes for the replay to render. I got to post it. So this is where, if you're not a member, folks, you're not going to get to see all this stuff. Chris, good question. Are the members having big gains following your trades or doing their own based on your trading? The answer is both. Chris, most of the folks trade just this stuff because we do about 7 to 8 core positions, and I'll brief you on those most likely tomorrow. What the sectors we're trading. Where is it? So yeah, kind of our sector targeting. We'll talk about that tomorrow. I do, Chris. I do one-on-one coaching as well, and with a lot of those folks, we take a look at maybe some off the book trades. But if you're as a retail trader, man, you should not be trading more than 7 to 12 positions, period. I have a back doctor, a buddy of mine in Boca, who used to have 33 positions. He didn't even know what half of them were or why he got into them. You guys, I do this full time, and it's physically impossible to do all of that stuff. So don't. Peter, is it too late for a Visa synthetic stock? Absolutely no. Folks, it's never all the Jan 21 synthetic stock and long call diagonals I'm going to brief you on. We're going to talk about most likely tomorrow. Financials, energy, defense, transport services, entertainment, and that's supposed to be Captain Kirk at the bottom. The answer is absolutely not, folks. It's not too late to get into any of the positions that we have in our model portfolio. When you become a member, one of the first sessions, I'm going to say, hey, welcome aboard, 50 new members. Here is what I would do today for a brand new Visa synthetic stock position. Okay, so does that make sense? Awesome. That's great. Diane, great point. Diane's been here for a couple of years. She's doing great work. The nice thing about trading with you is we can trade as many or as few contracts as we can afford. That's critical that she just said that. Does everybody understand that? Like I just showed you the FXI bull put spread. I'm doing 150 contracts, risking $5,500. Wiz, I'm doing 30. Great. I'm doing 900. Awesome. None of my business. So as Diane points out, you can scale the amount of contracts that you do. I can't tell you what to do. That's just physically I'm not allowed, PLTB, Diane, because that's giving individual investment advice, and I don't do that. Not registered investment advisor or broker dealer. Okay. All right. About 2 minutes left. We usually go an hour and a half. Quick reminder, so if you're not a member, I'm not sending out, you already got the email, right? Let me just, I'm not giving people access to the member page. Here's the email that went out earlier. It literally had the text alert at the top, right? And it had a screenshot of the trade. So it went out at 15 cents, man. It was at 15. Everybody see this? 15 cents was the mid-market in this trade. It went down to 11 at one point. That trade was up $600 during our live trade brief. Awesome. Love, absolutely love it. And then whoever just asked for it, I was about to give it to you. This is the replay page. go.topgunoptions.com/replay. Okay, so it's in the chat box. The replay from last night is up here. I strongly recommend you watch that. I went through the trade plan in detail, and we did it today. Remember last night I said we practiced demo do here at Top Gun Options. Last night I demonstrated, as the market was closed, a trade plan. I went into each step in detail, and then live in today's brief, we did it on FXI. Good time. Usually we would have covered a lot more trades and existing positions. If there's any stuff for my members I need to get out, I'll send out a text alert, but I think we're pretty solid. I'm holding the VXX bull put spread for my members through Friday. because it's Tuesday, folks, and there is a world of, it's up to 2284. We just need VXX above 23 by Friday, and this thing can potentially hit max profit. Okay, so if you're currently in this VXX bull put spread, folks, this is potentially $1,800 trade by Friday. If you're, I hate talking about shorting volatility, but this thing's kind of been in a downward slope. You might want to look at a bear call spread out to Friday. Okay. And maybe I'll text one of those out. You're welcome, Paul. Absolutely, you're welcome. All right, guys, I'll get the replay posted for my members. I'll put the screenshots up on the member page. And for everybody else, Full Throttle, tomorrow afternoon at 1 o'clock, we're going to get airborne with what is called AR, Accelerated Retirement. Okay, and then I will open the 50 slots. And then tomorrow night, I'm going to give you a sample of the 8 sessions you're going to get, the Full Throttle training, which we're going to be doing here in a couple weeks. We've got two groups of folks that we're going to be taking through. Here's the best deal about Full Throttle, folks, is those 8 live training sessions I'm going to do, you get those for the rest of the time you're at TGO. If I do another Full Throttle launch in October and get 50 new folks, you can come to that training again. Tamara was here last night, ladies and gentlemen. A lot of folks, every time I do Full Throttle training, they all come to them. Why? Because it's good to have a refresher. Okay? So quick reminder, here's what we're doing. Maybe the rest of the week. AR tomorrow at 1, tomorrow night at 9. We're going to do some options training. And then we might be doing a Thursday and Friday live trade brief for the masses. If we get 50, we're not, because we're not going to be giving away the rest of the week for free. That's just kind of changing the way I do business here. So, all right, guys. Tamara, I've been through these 7 times so far. She comes to every one of them, and it's interesting because people always say, you know what, you didn't say that before. I picked up a little. Flying and fighting the F-18 Hornet, guys. Even on my last flight in the F-18, nearly 3,000 hours in the jet, I still learned something on my last flight. Okay, and you guys will too. All right, guys, have a great rest of your day. Happy hunting. Make sure you hedge, and God bless, and having a great time this week at Full Throttle. I'll see you tomorrow at 1 o'clock. God bless.